Hey Gearheads, welcome back to BZB TV. This is Nate back here from the tech support team back in the Foxton, and today we're going to be talking about everyone's favorite camera, our brand new BG-ADAMO-4K camera. It's making a lot of noise, disruption on the broadcast networking market. This camera's been winning multiple awards at a lot of trade shows this last year, and people are asking why. What makes the BG-ADAMO-4K stand out? What's the difference? And why is everyone talking about it? Well, today we're going to be talking about just that. The features, the settings, the control, the auto tracking, the zoom levels, the 4K, the different versions, NDI, Dante, we have it all. So as you can see, just starting off, we have three versions of our BG-ADAMO 4K camera. We have the BG-ADAMO 4K, the NDI version, as well as the Dante version. Starting with our first version here is the ADAMO 4K. This is a great 4K, high quality camera. Has multiple outputs like all the other cameras, and it can do everything that you're looking for in a PTZ 4K camera. Moving on is our NDI camera. This supports NDI up to HX3. We have a partnership with NewTek and NDI that allows you to stream this over your network and use the NDI streams into your applications that support that. And then moving over to Dante, we also have a partnership with Dante that allows our camera to be utilized in the Dante controller, Dante Studio. So if you're looking to utilize that in your setup, in your application, you could do that. All zoom levels have a great field of view. So if you're zoomed all the way out, covers a lot of ground from left to right. So if you have a close distance and you're trying to cover level ground, they can do that as well. But also if you're looking to get that tight shot from a far distance, you could do that as well. That's why we designed these cameras to have multiple zoom levels, because we know they're utilized in a lot of different environments like churches or even hospitals, schools, whatever it may be. If you need to get a tight shot, a far shot, medium shot, and still get the high quality, all these cameras will allow you to do that. Next, deep diving a little bit more on the camera, on the hardware side. On the back of it, you can see there's multiple connections and multiple outputs. And what's great is, especially with all the signal flow, all the video outputs are simultaneous. What that means is you can connect USB, SDI, HDMI, NDI, and you can have it running all at the same time. So you can have HDMI go into a monitor, SDI go into another monitor, USB go into the computer. And it's all never going to steal that footage or signal flow from the other. Going from left to right on the back of the camera, on the left side you see that there's two USB connections. All the cameras support USB 3.0 and 2.0. Why? Well, one of them does 4K at 30 over USB, which is great. Not a lot of cameras offer that. So that's for if you want to stream in 4K or want to capture footage of 4K, you can do that as well. Also allows for the USB 3.0 is a B-type connector, and then the USB 2.0 is the A-type connector. So if you're looking for different connectors, you can do that as well. And just depending on what your application is, we offer multiple USB options. Moving over is the SDI. And what's great about these 4K cameras is not just 3G SDI. These cameras offer 12G SDI. That's 4K at 60 SDI. There's not a lot of cameras on the market that offer that, but these cameras do. So if you're looking to implement an SDI, 4K SDI feed into your system, and you could do that with this camera. Also, you can do 3G as well, 6G, and everything in between, but it supports that 12G. Next is the HDMI, same thing, 4K at 60, that high quality image over HDMI. If you're looking to put that into a monitor, maybe into a capture card, into a computer, you can do that as well. Moving on is another great option is the micro SD port. This is where you can record directly onto a micro SD card. And what's great is you can record up to 1 terabyte of footage, 4K footage onto that card. So, and I know that's a lot, but 4K footage does take up a lot. So we got you supported there. Next is the line-in port. This is for your audio. If you want to embed audio into your camera, into the HDMI, SDI, or into your network stream, you can do that as well. There's a lot of options in the web interface to adjust that, but just a direct 3.5 connection there if you're looking to embed your audio external source into the camera. Next are the serial connections. These cameras support multiple serial connections. We have the RS485, the RS422, and the RS232. Additionally, it has the RS232 32 in and out. So if you're looking to daisy chain your cameras, you can do that as well. If you're using like a serial joystick, you can do that and use those connections to jump to each camera. And lastly but not least is the network port. This supports it's the LAN port or the NDI port or the Dante port, as well as PoE. So this port can do it all. I kind of just call it the network port because first of all, it provides the power PoE, which is power over Ethernet. If you plug it in using your category cable into a network switch that supports PoE, power up the camera right away. You don't have to worry about plugging in the power adapter. Also, it provides your network connectivity. So if you have plugged into a local switch that's plugged into your local network, you can get this on your network, as well as that's where the NDI stream or the Dante stream comes from, just connecting it through that category cable and you're good to go. So I love that port because you can just plug it in and you can run the camera pretty much just from an Ethernet cable. Also, we have additional videos on NDI and Dante on our BZBTV YouTube page. So if you're looking for more information on how to utilize it and more information on how it all works, we have those videos as well. You can look at the links below in the description below, and you put the links in there and you can click on those to deep dive those as well. Next, we're going to be talking about control. We offer multiple ways to control these cameras with either the remote, the web interface, a joystick, or even the apps that we have developed they can use on different devices. So instead of just telling you about it, we're actually going to show you and do some quick examples of how you can control those cameras with those devices. So we're going to take some time, plug these cameras in, and go ahead and do that for you. And welcome back. And as you can see, we're set up on the other side of our studio, and we're going to go over, like I mentioned, how to control and then multiple ways you can control these cameras. Right now, we're actually shooting across where we do our live stream and everything. So soon you'll see some of the footage from the cameras pointing on the other side of the room where we shoot a lot of our podcasts, live streams, that kind of thing. It's just a great environment for that. So as you can see, I have all three cameras set up here. They're plugged into our network switch for PoE, which is power over Ethernet, so they're powered up, but also they're networked to our joystick here, our BG Commander. We also pre-networked it to our iPad, so we'll go over that later, as well as our computer, which you can log into the web interface, and the remote control. Like I mentioned, there's multiple ways to control these cameras, and first up is the remote control. This remote is great for if you're in maybe one camera, you're by yourself, because you can do everything with just the push of a button. Typically out of the box, all the cameras have the same IR range. You know, the remote's great for one camera, but if you have multiple cameras, we do get questions on like, hey, I have one remote, but I have three cameras. Can I control each one individually? Yes, you can. But you just have to, with a couple commands from the remote, you have to just set each camera to an individual camera address. And that's all in the manual. But for example, if I hit camera 1, it just controls camera 1. I'm going to put that back in the home position. If I want to now camera 2, this one's moving camera 2. And then I select camera 3, and boom, camera 3 is moving. So I just did that with the remote with the commands, so I'm not just, because it's kind of annoying when you're trying to move one camera and all the other ones are, if they're in the same IR range, it affects the camera. So just a quick tip there. What's great is obviously you want to be in front of the camera, but you can easily set and recall presets with the remote. Zoom in, zoom out, and just call. Even turn on and off auto tracking. But for example, I'll show you how easy it is to set a preset. Obviously you want to be in front of the camera, so I'm going to do that real quick. So I'm going to put my camera in the position I want. Oh, got to select the right camera. This is camera 1. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. And we're going to get, how about the nice glowing award right there. And then I'm just going to move in front of the camera right here. We'll do set preset 1. And it gives you a little prompt on the screen. So, and then I'm going to move over to, I'm going to pick my second preset right there. And then just to make sure I get it, I'm going to do set preset 2. So that's 2, and then with the push of just the number 1 option, just all I have to do is tap the button. It should go to preset 1, and boom, right back to preset 1, and then I'm gonna hit preset 2, boom, back to that. And then if I'm just gonna go home to the home button, you can do that as well. So that's how easy it is to set and recall presets. And so another great feature of the remote is that you can easily, with the ADAMOs, you can easily turn on and off the auto tracking. And so instead of telling you about it, I'm going to show you. So I'm going to turn my monitor around too so I can see myself. And there we go. And so I'm standing right in front of the camera, and obviously I am out of the frame, but if I hit the green button here, make sure it sees me, and boom, auto tracking is on. And as you can see, our auto tracking is amazing. It just walk back and forth, no problem. It keeps me in the frame. Obviously, I am in a studio, so I don't have a lot of leg room to move different spots. But once again, this is a great solution for if you're in a if you're doing a studio tutorial or some training or whatever it may be, you can do that as well. Next is great. Obviously, all these ADAMOs have tally lights, so you can easily do that with **7, turn it on, turns on the green. **8 turns on the red, and then if you want to turn it off, **9. So as you can see, if you're all by yourself, one camera, this remote can do it all for you. You just want to make sure you're right in front of the camera because the IR range, the IR sensor of the camera is in front. Obviously, sometimes if you're close enough, you get from behind, but this is a great solution for that. But let's say you have multiple cameras are at a distance. That's why we have multiple control options with the web interface, a joystick. If you have multiple cameras over the network, you can control with finite tuning. You can do that in our web app. So next, let's go ahead and jump into the next way to control the camera, which is the web interface. So diving into the camera now, we actually network this to our local network. We have a lot of videos on how to do this, so check out the links below to how to network your camera. But just showing how a simple rundown of the web interface of controlling it, what you can do. All right, here's our preview page. You can control it here with move it left, right, up, and down, and in between. You can adjust your cam speed from panning left to right. Also your zoom speed, if you want to zoom in quicker or slower. Your focus mode, you got your auto and manual, and then if you want to do a one push, you can do that as well. And then your presets. What's great is the presets are actually set inside the brain of the camera. So since we set it with the remote already, I can easily recall that same preset, like preset 1, if I just turn it on, look at that, boom, already it's going to that position that we set. And then autofocus is kicking in, and then preset 2, I'm going to turn that on, and boom, there you go. One thing we recently added was a preset speed. This was actually in the on-screen menu you can change, but now you can do it from the web interface because we've had questions about, hey, live action using the controlling of the interface, even a joystick. You can control that, but what about the preset speed? Like when you're going for one set preset to the other, you can do that now. So you can see it's set to 10. I'm going to lower it down to 1. So if I recall the preset, it's going to be very slow. And that's how you control it. Like I said, you can adjust this in the on-screen menu with the remote as well, but we wanted to put it in the web interface for easy access. So I'm going to go back to preset 2. And if you happen to notice any shaking in the camera, these cameras are actually set up on our table. Obviously, in an ideal situation, you'll have your cameras on a mount or a tripod. But since I am everything just for demonstration purposes, everything's on the table. So every time I hit the table, it shakes the camera. So the cameras actually are not shaking on their own when they're moving. It's just me hitting the table. Just FYI on that. So you can do a lot of things on here on the preview page. And the next is the track configuration. I just want to dive into briefly. This is how to turn on and off your auto tracking. So you can turn it on, and I'm going to go back to, I'm going to turn this off. It goes back to the home position. And then if I turn tracking on, obviously there's no one in the frame right now, but that's how you would change that or turn it on and off right there. You also have presenter and zone mode. So zone mode. So briefly, zone mode is not where you're following a person around everywhere. Zone is like if you move out of that zone, the camera will actually move. But if you're within that one or two zones that you set, the camera will not move until you move out of that zone. It's kind of like shifts the frame from left to right. This is great for if you're like a yoga instructor or some sort of teacher and you're moving quickly within a small frame. The camera's not moving back and forth left and right. We have a more in-depth video on that as well. You can check out a link below. But and you can set it up here easily in the web interface. But one thing I want to point out here on presenter mode is one thing we've added recently is headroom. We've had some I guess when we had some trials and tests, and some feedback is that there was a little too much headroom, so we adjust it where it's more, if you want a little less headroom, you can switch it to low. If you want it to have more high headroom, which is the room between like your head and the top of the frame, if you want more of that, you go to high, or if you want your happy medium, you go to medium. You could do that as well. So this is great, you know, if you have a subject out on the in front of the camera, and then if you want to be the control from the back, you can do this from the web interface, turn on off auto tracking, adjust just the presets, everything. Also, briefly in configuration, this is where you can adjust your network settings. Also, one big thing is the video parameters. So if you wanted to change the exposure, white balance, iris, shutter, everything you could do in the video parameters tab here. So that was just a brief rundown of if you're looking to control the camera, if you don't have a joystick, but if you don't want to have the remote, if you want to be at a remote location, if everything's on the network, you're good to go. Just log into the interface. The caveat to that is that this is not really ideal for if you're doing live following your subject back and forth. It's not as precise as a joystick would be because it's using a stream from the network for just a preview. So if you're looking to do some live action of following your subject, presenter, whoever it may be, a joystick would be actually your best solution for that, because that's a really more precise following. You can adjust the speed and everything. So that's it for the web interface. As you can see, there's a lot of options there, but a lot of control from over the network if you're at a distance. And next control option is our BZBGEAR control app, which can be downloaded onto a Windows, a Mac, or other iOS devices like an iPad or an iPhone. So for today's example, we're going to be using the iPad. So let's go ahead and dive in. I kind of preset the cameras in, so let's go ahead and dive in and show you a little overview of how it works. I'm going to go ahead and open it up. And I already pre-configured all 3 cameras to this app. One of the biggest thing is I want to make sure that the iPad is on the same Wi-Fi network as the cameras are sitting on. If not, they won't see each other. So as you can see, we have our first camera already lined up there in our preview window. And so just to kind of go to the gear here to show the settings of it, what you have to do to get it added. You got the name, description, IP address, the HTTP port automatically fills in because it's always 80. Serial number is very important because unless you don't have the right serial number, it will not be added because this app is only meant for BZBGEAR cameras because this is a BZBGEAR app, which makes sense. And then you can put the admin and password. We have a video on how to do this all as well. What's great about this app is you can do a lot of things that the web can do. Adjust your pan speed, tilt speed, zoom speed. You can adjust your contrast brightness. You can change the resolution, and then saturation and color and white balance and everything on all above. And one great thing is you can actually turn on the tally lights on the ADAMO. So if I want to go hit green, you can see our one camera is lighting up there, and then red, and then off, green. There you go, pretty straightforward. As you can see, we have all 3 cameras. There's camera 1, camera 2 pops up, there we go. So the preview screen is actually just the substream of the camera. You're not gonna expect some high quality image just using it, because it's just for a preview image, just to set up your presets and recalling and setting, kind of adjusting your video parameters there. So now we're gonna show how easy it is to set presets. So with my camera 1 here, I am going to kind of similar, maybe I'll just jump in on, I'll hit the zoom button to activate the zoom. Go ahead and zoom, toggle down a little bit. We'll just do our BZBGEAR sign. And then all I have to do is add preset, and I'll take a little screenshot, add preset, and I'll just call this BZBGEAR. Boom. Hit save. And then I'm just gonna go over, let's go to, how about the tree? Zoom in on that. There you go. And then it's always good to have, if you can, to have a monitor next to you or have the web preview up so you can actually have a bigger image. But this is great. This app is great for just recalling, but you can also see it in here. So I'm gonna add preset 2, tree. Save. So, and just to recall the preset, I'm just going to tap on preset 1, and boom. And then tap on preset 2, it recalls that. And there we go. So really easy to use. And what's great is if you make them favorites, it goes into this favorite. You can click on the favorites folder. But this is a great way if you have all your presets for like all three cameras. So let me set a preset for our second camera here. Just put that in the middle, just random preset. Let's just say cam, my second camera, cam 2, and then I'll make this my favorite. And then cam 3, so our Dante camera. We'll just zoom up close there on the wall. We'll add preset. I'll just call it cam 3. This is just making it very simple. Cam 3. And then I hit my favorites. So I got favorite, favorite, favorite. And so actually I'm going to put them all in my home position. Let's see here, home. You can click on it and hit the home button to get them all in your home position. And then now if I go to my favorites by clicking the star here, you see all your presets for every camera. So I can actually recall all the presets. There's one, you see camera 1 move, camera 2, you can see it moves, and then camera 3, see it moves as well. And all that, recalling all presets at one time. Really cool feature. So that's pretty much it. This is, once again, the app is a great way to set and recall presets. This is not what you want to use to like track your subject and kind of follow them on a live scene. This is more for like, hey, I just want to set up my shots, set up my presets, and recall those presets as well. Maybe do some slight image adjustments. You can do that, and maybe you can actually change the resolution, and yeah, it can do a lot of things. It's just a great tool to just control the camera at a simply. If you're within the Wi-Fi network in that building, you can walk around from different angles. You're not connected to a computer or any sort of like a remote be in front of it, or even a joystick. You can just walk around everywhere. So it's a great, I guess, more secondary control as a backup. So that is the iPad app. And then lastly is the big one is controlling it with the joystick, the BG Commander. So let's go ahead and jump into that. As you can see, we have our BG Commander now set up. It's actually been set up for a while, but now we're going to talk about it. So all three cameras are network switched, and the joystick is networked as well. We have another video on how to network everything together. Just make sure everything's on the same IP scheme. All the cameras are on different IP addresses, the same as the Commander, and we already added them to the joystick, so makes it really easy. And obviously, typical setup, you're not going to have three cameras right next to each other. Imagine one in your center shot, maybe one up in the rafters or in the left corner, one in the right corner, maybe close, whatever it may be. A lot of options, but this is a great tool to do a lot of things: control, presets, turning on off tracking, turning off a lot of features, getting some fine tuning, focus, everything, all of the above. So as you can see, I have camera 1 right here. Actually, it's camera 3 that we've been using. So I'm just going to show real quick. Let's just start off with how easy it is. I'm just zooming in, just using the turn zoom on here. There's also a knob you can use for zooming as well. At the top here, there is a zoom speed and PT speed. So if you push the button, it toggles between both of them. So I'm going to go to zoom speed. I'm just going to turn it down just a little bit, so it's a little slower. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a nice pan from left to right across our table here with these awards. And I'm going to lower the PT speed by just pushing the button in. PT speed turn to the left, and speed grade is down to 1. So the slowest, and then here we go from left to right. I'm just full tilt. See, nice and smooth. We're about 10-15 feet away. You can see there, that's easy. And then I can zoom out, pan again, and then if I want to speed it up, just hit that pan speed, and then, you know, super fast. So that's how easy it is just to pan from left to right. Same thing with setting presets. It's really easy. I'm gonna zoom in pretty tight on this guy right here. And then let's do preset 1. I'm just gonna hold down the number 1 button. Preset 1 on the screen, the preset 1 name will go away. That means that the preset is set. And then if I toggle out of that position and then just short tap that one, it'll go right back to that position. Boom. And then I'm gonna go pan over to the right. Let's just do maybe a little wider shot of this side of the table. I'm going to slow down my PT speed. Oh, it's super high. Let's do like 2. There we go. A little easier for fine tuning. All right, I'm going to hold down number 2. That is set. And then actually I could just go to 1 and boom. And then preset 2 and boom. And then now I can go home, the home button. So really easy to just set it up. And what we added in recently is if you hold down the enter button, long press it, you can add, because there's only technically 10 presets per camera, because there's 1 through 9 plus the number 0. We added in, if you hold the enter button, it'll allow you to put the number in. So like now I can say this is going to be preset 102. You can do that now. And then to recall that, you just select that enter button. Don't hold it down, but just short tap it and then hit enter, and then it'll recall that preset. So, because I know we've had some questions like, hey, can I have more presets per camera? Yes, you can with this guy. So I'm gonna actually get out of here, escape. So also real quick, all 3 cameras are on here. So I'm gonna hit cam 1 just to show that one's moving around. It's actually moving pretty slow. I'm gonna move a little faster. There's camera 1, camera 2. So just easy to just switch between cameras. What's great about the ADAMOs, they all have tally lights, and you can easily turn them on and off here. This is another feature that we added into here. So there's not an actual tally light button on the menu, but if you just hold, so first there's the back, you're gonna use the backlight buttons, kind of a hidden menu. I call it the in and out burger menu. You gotta know what to ask for behind the actual menus that's on the screen. There's a lot of extra features. Extra burgers, I guess you can say. So we got camera number 2 moving, and so if you double tap backlight on, green light's on. If you double tap backlight off, green light's off. If you hold backlight on, turns the tally lights red, and then backlight off, hold it down, boom, lights are off. And you can do that for all 3 cameras. And so if you're looking to use your tally lights, you can do that as well. So kind of just briefly going over a little extra features on here. Let's go ahead and get to our main camera here. And so as you can see, you can also adjust your auto white balance, your reds and blues as well. So if you start moving it, it will activate that reds. So if I want to turn up the reds, it'll start getting a little more redder. It moves one level at a time, so be patient, just keep moving it and it'll change. And then if I want to switch between the blues, just tap that and it'll say blue gain. And you can start adding some blues or lowering some blues. But if you want to get back to your auto white balance, just hit that button again. You got auto white balance, and it takes a little bit, but it will filter in. Auto exposure, that just allows you to close the iris a little bit. So if it's too bright, you can lower that iris and just turn it back on, or just hit the auto exposure to open that back up. And then lastly is autofocus. Obviously that's for auto focusing. And then if you turn the knob left or right, you got near and far. If you want to do a manual shot, I just turn to the left and see it's starting to get blurry. Sorry, I'm shaking the table. We are in California, it could be an earthquake. And then toggle to the right. So if you want to get a manual shot, you could do that as well. And then if you want to go back to auto, just tap the auto button. So lastly, I'm going to go back to the home button. Another feature, because all these ADAMOs have auto tracking. So we also added another menu option in here, is the turning on and off auto tracking with a couple buttons here. Like the tally lights, there's not an actual button for it, but I'll tell you what you need to do. So I'm going to ask my awesome videographer here, Flo, to jump in the frame for me, and we'll just show you how easy it is once someone's in the frame. He's literally jumping in, folks. Thanks, Flo. So I'm going to frame him, and then just by holding one push autofocus, the AF button, you'll say on the screen to long press to set auto tracking. Now auto tracking's on, so you can start running around, whatever you want to do, Flo. You'd be a great mime. And like I showed earlier, the tracking works great in just a little studio here. and you walk to the frame, and boom. So, and then if I want to turn it off, I just hold the one push trigger button. So once I turn it off, and it turns off, and then no longer tracking. So Flo, you can, thank you Flo, beautiful. And another feature that we have added with the cameras, the Adamos, when we used to turn off auto tracking, it would go back to the home position. Now it keeps the zoom level. You see that when I turned off the zoom, the auto tracking, the zoom level kept the same. So it makes it really easy, because if someone's tracking someone but they want to keep that same shot, you can now. Well, that's it for the Commander. Just a rough overview of the settings, the parameters, everything you can do. As you can see, the BG-ADAMO cameras and the BG Commander work very well together with the tally lights, with the turning on and off tracking, and just adjusting your white balance, iris, focus, turning on and off your presets, or setting and recalling your presets. So a lot of great features. Like I mentioned before, this is a great tool to just follow your subject, have a precision control versus like maybe using the web interface or the app or even the remote. You could get those really tight presets and really tight shots of following your subject, and then also controlling the domos with ease. This is also a great tool for a professional or commercial environment if you're looking to do like a big production, multiple cameras, controlling the cameras with ease, like I mentioned, and have everything at your fingertips without being overly complicated. Well, there you have the gearheads, just an overview of our BG-ADAMO 4K cameras, the different versions, all the things that they offer. We have the NDI, the Dante, or the non-Dante or NDI, the different zoom levels, 12x, 25x, and coming soon is the 31x, the different simultaneous outputs, the 4K 60, the 12G over SDI, RS232, NDI HX3, including multiple ways to control the domos, including the remote, the web GUI, the iPad or different apps, the Commander or any of our joysticks, as well as just serial control, RS232. You can do that as well. These cameras are very versatile in that aspect. We also appreciate all the comments from our viewers and clients and customers that have either used the cameras or looking to use it, like what they're looking for. That's why we made this video, to show all the features that we have updated to better suit your needs in your environment, as well as to show the live action footage when you're using either way to control it, or just the footage of what it looks like at 4K or tracking. So keep the comments coming. We love to hear all the comments, questions, suggestions, because we know this is a great camera for your environment. We always looking to see how we can improve it even better to tailor to suit your needs. Obviously, that's why we offer many ways to control the camera, because everyone has a different situation where you maybe a different budget or a different environment where you don't have the room or the budget to add more ways to control. That way we offer different ways to control it to everyone's situation. And of course, feel free to leave any comments or questions or suggestions in the comments below this video. Well, I'd love to hear from you, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to videos like these so be notified when more of these videos come out. And as always, have a great day.